Hello, and welcome to LEGO Challenge with the Warren County Library System. My name is Sandy Roberts, and I'm the Makerspace Coordinator for the library. Before COVID hit all of us, I hosted LEGO clubs in the Southwest Makerspace, but that's just not possible right now. So I moved all of my programs online instead. Over the summer, I hosted a series called LEGO Lovers. Each week we explore different creations made by LEGO artists and LEGO masters. Then I challenged our patrons, that's you, to create their own LEGO masterpieces. You can watch all of those on YouTube or Facebook anytime that you want a bit of inspiration. This fall, I thought I'd change it up a bit. And that's what brings us to LEGO Challenge. Each week, I'll have a different themed building challenge for you. And in addition to showing you examples for inspiration, we'll talk about ways that you can develop your skills and then use science and engineering to make your building even better. This month, we're using LEGO creations to explore vehicles. So while we learn about forces in motion, we're building planes, trains, and automobiles. Today we're exploring trains and talking about the forces that keep them on their tracks. We'll also look at different LEGO kits that are available, see what LEGO lovers are making, and then use our STEM skills to create our own creations. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's take a look at some great sets to give us some inspiration. We're going to start off with the official LEGO kits. So LEGO trains have been around since 1966. They are classic, and there are many sets out there. I'm not going to be able to cover them all, obviously, because there's just a ton. But initially, they were all the push type, powered by you. But by in 3 or 4 years after their introduction, they started offering battery-operated motorized trains, which of course were incredibly popular. In 2006, along came radio-controlled, or RC, trains, and now there's all kinds of different powered options that you can use to make your trains move. Let's start off with some of the city sets. So these are one of the very popular lines for Legos, and we have basically 2 categories that the Lego city sets fall into. The first are passenger trains like these. And so you can see that they're pretty classic to what you might see in an actual city like Chicago. A lot of times they have like your little some train station elements and minifigs that come with it, lots of track for you to use. So they've had different versions over the years. The other type that you often see are the cargo trains, and that's what we see here. That's the kinds of trains that would carry heavy things around the country. So these are really fun because they tend to have like crane elements and things like that. They come with trucks and cars and things like that. So these are really fun sets, and they kind of build out that world a little bit. And of course, because the Lego track is all the same, regardless of which set you get, you can easily combine, your cargo trains with your passenger trains and build out the experience. Each year, roughly, they come out with, well, maybe not every year, but they come out with a new one in this line every year or 2. So there's a lot of options there. Sorry. We'll have to cut this. Okay. So our creator sets are another really popular line. And what's cool about creator sets is that they are kind of meant to be remixed. So we have several versions, again, of some really cool trains. This one's more of a cargo train. This one's kind of more of an old-fashioned, long journey train. This is obviously more of a passenger train, so a lot of variety among that set, and of course they're meant to be kind of changed and built differently and adjusted. Really fun are these smaller creator sets. They're a little easier to build, a little less expensive, but each of them, like this little green train, actually comes with the instructions to build a train, a tank, and I think a car. So each of them comes with instructions to build the same Legos in multiple ways, which is really fun. Then we have our Christmas creators. So this is like one of the smaller Christmas trains. Here's a larger Christmas train. Again, the same track for all of them. So you can add Christmas or any of these to your larger sets and have them all work together. So they do offer Christmas sets on a fairly regular basis, and this is, I think, the most recent one. Okay, bringing us to some of the specialty sets. Here we have a Halloween offering of a ghost train, and you can see it's got some of the glow-in-the-dark elements that a lot of the Halloween sets or the monster sets have. And you can see you've got a little mad scientist here, and some. These are all really cool because they, have glow-in-the-dark elements, so they're really fun. This is the Wild West set. So again, a more historical set that you can build, and then they have a whole Disney set. So this is like a Mickey Mouse themed train with one of the buildings from Disney, which is really fun. This is a more expensive set, a big build, thousands of pieces, but a really beautiful kit. And then one of my personal favorites is the Harry Potter Hogwarts Express, and of course comes with the minifigs of all of our favorite characters. So this is a very, very popular set, very hard to get your hands on, but you could take a look at how they built it, and I bet you could figure out how to build scenes from maybe your favorite movie. So just to give you a little bit of a close-up, they have the train station with the 9 3/4 lift. And but what I like about these things is that they give you the idea that if you have a favorite movie, a favorite book, a favorite comic book, and you want to try and build a scene from that, you can totally do that. Okay? Alrighty. I also wanted to just point out the Duplo sets. There are lots of Duplo train sets, and these are just two that you can find pretty commonly. These are great for younger kids. They're easy builds, and they are hours and hours and hours of lots and lots of fun. So it's not just your more expensive, fancy build for Legos. You've got lots and lots of options. Okay. Moving on to our MOCs, my own creations, things that Lego lovers like you have made. A lot of these I found on the ideas.legos.com site, which is a great place to go and see what others are making and to pitch ideas for things that you think should be Lego sets. So, lots of recreations of trains in the real world, which is fun, and you get a lot of creativity among the MOCs. And I also love some of the photography that folks are doing. What I love about this one is that you can see the passenger car has lots of tables and things built out inside, so a lot of detail there. This one is just a very classic steam engine, just a nice build. This is someone's interpretation of the Orient Express, which is a pretty famous train from a book and a movie. But again, I love that they kind of built it halfway, if you can see here. Let me see if I can get that bigger. And what's cool is that you've got like scenes going on inside the train. So this is, again, the way that you can take a story that you love and interpret it with Legos, right? And you don't have to build the whole train. You can just build one car and kind of focus in on that. And then over time, if you want to keep on building, you can. So I just thought that that was a really cool idea, the way that they did that kind of inside of the train to tell the story from the book. So that was a really cool build. These are kind of more focused on the train stations. So this is kind of an old style city. Really nice work on the tree. You've got kind of those street lamps, gas street lamps, and then kind of a San Francisco style trolley car, train instead of a steam engine. So that's a really cool build, just focusing on the station maybe a little bit more than just the train. This one is very impressive, and you've got a really old-fashioned steampunk style train. And look at all the work they put into their photography too. And then just a really beautiful interpretation of a train station. These four are all modern trains, generally like real trains that are in use. So this is the Disney train that takes you back and forth around the park. This is an actual Amtrak train. So this is a fun thing that you can do. This is actually, I think, based on the first subway in London. So this is a really great way if you are studying history, perhaps, or studying, Western expansion, for example. Trains were really important in that. A fun way to study history is by rebuilding it and recreating it. So maybe you can find some pictures of trains that interest you that were important at different times, or trains of the future. There's a lot going on with maglev trains that basically run on magnets that make them hover above the track. So you can do research on those sorts of things and then rebuild with Legos as you explore those topics. And it's a really fun way to learn. Okay, some items by artists and masters. These are, again, mocks, but kind of taking it to the next level. So this one, it's not huge, but the level of detail put into it is pretty amazing if you look at this build. Again, this is based on a real train, and what I especially love is all the little details they put in. Look at this. Look at the time that they put in even getting the undercarriage just right and built to really look like the real train. Look at the way that they use Legos to kind of create the dirt, and even building the railroad ties that would hold down the track. So I just found that really fascinating to put in that kind of work to, even down to the gravel, So I thought that was really cool. I mean, if you're going to go for something really complicated, take it all the way. These are two very big builds. You can see there's a person riding this one. This is actually a Christmas build from last year that was in London for folks, Liverpool, I'm sorry, for folks to enjoy in the UK. And it did snow, and the kids got to take pictures of them on this cool Lego train in the snow. So what a fun way to celebrate a holiday. And this one, maybe you recognize, Thomas the Tank Engine. And so this was done as an installation, a Lego piece of art to celebrate Thomas the Tank Engine. Definitely one of my kids' favorite shows. But this is also quite large. I couldn't find a good picture with a person, but it's about the height of, like a 7 or 8 year old. So it's pretty sizable. So those, of course, are probably a little more than you want to attempt in your own home, but they are impressive. And then we get to some of the, different conventions, which of course maybe we're not having those kind of events right now. We'll often have trains, and often you'll find Lego enthusiasts at Lego events bringing their trains, and you can see that these are two very large setups with many, many trains, lots of track, lots of scenery. This takes many people working together to create, and so what will happen is groups will coordinate, they'll plan out the city that they're going to build, they'll all take a section, bring it in the day before, put it all together. It's an amazing collaborative piece and amazing collaborative work. Here's another great example. I love the buildings on this one. And again, this is actually recreating one of the cities. So this is really nice. And then they really did a great effort of even making Lego trucks and cars and laying down road too. So there's a fine tradition, of course, of creating train tracks and having your trains run through them, especially in a lot of families at Christmas time. A lot of families used to put their trains under the Christmas tree. I know my family did, my husband's family does, we still do. The cats attack them, but this could be a really fun way of using your Legos to create a train in a town that you can enjoy for a longer period of time and really kind of come back to and build. So that's really fun. And then I had to share this one. This is from the Australian Lego Masters TV show, where they each had to create a historical cityscape or town with the train running through it. And what's really cool is that they all connected. So every competitor had to build something that could connect to the next competitor. A huge challenge, crazy, especially to have to do it like on the fly in a couple of hours. But some really, really amazing builds. So this one is a medieval, which is kind of funny because they wouldn't have had trains, but this is a medieval village, so you can see the walls and the castles and the turrets. I love the way they built up the mountain too with just Legos. Very cool. This one is more of a water world kind of a situation. So you can see all the water, you get a sense of the waves going on here. Pretty amazing stuff. And finally, this is more of an Old West town. So you've got like the fortress over here. You've got this great canyon. But all of these came together and had, and you can see it, they each had to merge. So you're coming into the medieval land here from your Old West town. And I just think that that's like, what a fun project. So if you have family or if you have people in your pod, Thanksgiving is coming up, why not all bring your Legos and try and make something that could fit together, a whole world that can fit together. So you could each build your own piece and then put them all together to make something bigger. What a great way to celebrate Thanksgiving and to spend time with those you love. Okay, now, this is really cool. It's a little bit, it takes a little time, but this is from Train Guy 659. He's got a whole YouTube channel, and every year he does a Christmas train extravaganza that goes from inside to outside. And so this is actually the train running along. So let us. Okay, so that was our very, very cool, kind of long but pretty amazing train build there. So I mean, that's something you could do. You could put a GoPro camera right on your train and have it go around your house or go around your yard. What a fun video that would be to make. Okay, so on to our challenges. Today's challenge, basically create a train from either your imagination or model one from real life. Figure out a way to make it move. You might push it, you might motorize it, you might power it with a balloon. You could blow up a balloon, attach that and let the balloon blow the air out, and that will propel your train forward. If you have motorized pieces like Mindstorms or any of the power options that we talked about in our previous episode before Halloween, they can motorize your trains. And of course, there are kits for motorized trains from Lego. What I want to talk about too today is how do trains actually stay on their tracks? What is it about their wheels that let them do that? So we're going to take a look at that, and I have an experiment that you can do to learn more. But first, if you're looking to learn to build some trains, we have a couple books in the library. This one, the Lego Trains book, is probably our most comprehensive. It has lots of really great train builds in there that you can look at and enjoy. That one is a physical book that you can borrow. Amazing Vehicles I mentioned last week, but it also has lots of great trains in there too. That's another book that you can borrow. And then online through Hoopla, you can get this one. This Build It series is a whole book of just trains that you can build. So that's really fun. And then the Lego Action Vehicles also has some trains in it that you might want to check out. So those are 4 books. We have lots of Lego books that you can borrow from the library. I want to instead go to, now if you're looking for some ideas to get started, this simple train is part of a Christmas ornament series that Frugal Fun for Boys did, and so you can find it, and it shows you step by step how to build this train, tells you exactly what pieces you need. So if you're kind of looking for how do I get started, this is a fairly simple, small build to get started with your first train. Okay, so this may be the place to start. Also, there are lots of instructions online. For example, lego.brickinstructions.com has lots of official Lego builds that you can follow right along step by step using pieces that you have at home. And then toysandbricks.com offers a monthly mini build, and one of the ones that they did do a couple years ago was a really cute little train. So again, follow right along, use pieces that you have, and you can get the idea of how to build a train. And from there, you can adapt and remix and make your own. So that said, all right, science. Have you ever really thought about how a train stays on its tracks? Because if you think about it, your track is kind of a raised piece of metal that your train goes along. Well, you can't do that with like a car wheel, right? It wouldn't work. Train wheels, as you can see here, okay, are actually like 2 pieces, almost like 2 pie plates that go along the rail. So they are connected by an axle, okay, and the train wheels on one side of the train and the other side of the train are all connected across too. So if the train is to turn or try to turn fast, you have to make sure it's not going to go off the rails. And over many, many years, engineers have figured out some really important ways to make that happen. Notably, train wheels are actually wider and larger on the inside of the wheel. It's not like a normal wheel that's all just the same. It's actually beveled. And the reason it does this is because centrifugal force. Centrifugal is basically circular force. So if you, for example, if I take my glasses and I hold one ear and I kind of do that, it's centrifugal force that makes it move in that rotation, in that circular pattern, right? Boop, boop, boop. So when a train goes to turn, it's dealing with centrifugal forces. The shape of the wheel, by making it wider in the center, actually means that as it starts to turn, if it wants to go off and veer off, the shape actually wedges it back on to the train track and keeps the train on the track. This is really important. Derailing of trains was a big problem and could cause a lot of damage and harm people. So it's really important, especially as we make trains that are faster and faster, that when they go through turns, they're able to do so safely without losing too much speed or creating too much friction. If you want to learn more about this, and I do encourage you to, check out Popular Mechanics, The Science Behind Train Track Wheels, and Scientific American, Train Wheel Science. This second one, the Scientific American site, actually has an experiment that you can do just using a couple Dixie cups, some rulers, and some tape to explore different train wheel designs to see what would work best on a track. So I encourage you to check that out. It's really neat, fun bit of engineering. I might have to make it one of my upcoming engineering projects. Okay, and that is everything for our inspiration today. Well, I hope that gave you lots of ideas to think about. What kind of train will you make? Will you make something sleek and fast? Or do you want to make something old-fashioned, like a steam engine? Maybe you'll make a train station, or even build an entire city with rails going through it. The possibilities are endless. You might even want to explore the science and engineering of train wheels with some of the experiments I mentioned. I can't wait to see what you make. With your parents' permission, maybe you can share your creations on Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok. Be sure to hashtag WarrenLib so that we can see your creations. Be sure to check out our library for lots of great events. We have fun story times, we have music, we have wonderful talks, we have lots of STEM programs, we have crafts. So make sure that you take a look at our event calendar and be part of all the wonderful things that we're doing. Our website at warrenlib.org also has information on when the branches are open, how to use curbside pickup, our Beyond the Books program, and lots of other fun things. I will be back again next week at 3 p.m. on Wednesday with another fun Lego challenge, but that's going to be the last one for the year. We'll be back in 2020 with something new and interesting, but for now, we're going to take a little break from Legos. So next week, we will be doing automobiles and cars. Until then, my name is Sandy Roberts with the Warren County Library System. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep building.